All right. Good morning, everyone. Welcome to PreMarket Prep. I hope you're having an amazing morning. Hopefully, you had a great day yesterday. Happy Friday to everyone. And good morning, Peter. As soon as I can put my
Good.
headphones and hear what you are saying, like now.
And oh, hey, good morning, Carlos. How are you today?
Doing good, my friend. Hope you're doing good also.
I
Uh,
am.
Taking a look at the spot here, seeing some action at the moment. We have news coming out here. Let's take a look at that now. 1 second, let me pull this up. Bring the spy. Here we go. Did you get a chance to listen to the news already on this, Peter?
I don't know why the SPY is dropping right at the moment. We do have some general negativity in the market right now across the world. I assume that's just affecting the North American markets
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I see
as
this
well.
aggressive. Well, there's any no, I think there was something coming out today. Didn't we have numbers? I believe.
We do have a lot of numbers coming out today. I haven't seen them out yet. I mean, it
Yeah,
shouldn't be anything that affects the market that much. I can't speak. Consumer spending
yeah, yeah.
is coming out right at 8:30, as well as the PCE index. If somebody has those, that's great. But I don't see the result of the PCE data yet. Oh no, wait, sorry. Here it is, hot off the presses. So
Yes.
it's come in at what's the expectation was 0.5%, and it's come in at 0.6. So a little bit higher than anticipated. That probably is what is causing this drop right now.
Yeah, yeah, I see that there. And you can see as that is happening, guys, our gap down list obviously is growing quite a bit here, with many tickers heading into that above that 2% with above 100,000. So we're gonna have a long list today, especially if it's going to continue here. Now, many times, Peter, we've seen this so many times where we do get this drop and things do come back. But at the moment, we'll have to see how this thing reacts. We can see some stocks showing up on our gap down list right now. Let's go ahead and see what else is happening for today as far as the overall market.
Well, like we mentioned, there's general negativity across the global markets today, and I look across the world, and we have some markets actually that are closing early today. But London, Japan, Germany, all markets are down so far this morning. Here in North America, we're seeing that sort of reflected in the general market sentiment, with both the Qs and the SPY down this morning. As you can see, we got a lot of stuff on the economic calendar today. I actually had to consolidate because right at 8:30, the consumer spending and the PCE index that we just talked about are coming out. New home sales and consumer sentiment at 10. Neither one of those tend to move the market a lot. What's interesting is sort of later, so 10:15 through about 1:30, 2 o'clock, there's five Fed speakers that are making various speeches at various places. So, normally those don't have a large market impact. When you get that many Fed speakers and the so much attention we've got right now on what is the expected increase going to be, it's only going to take one of the five to say something that's out of line with the speaking notes, to get the markets in a little bit of a tizzy. So you might want to be careful with your trading through midday today. I have the expectation that I mean, look, nothing might happen, but you just got to be aware of that, right? And if you get some strange moves, it could be because one of the Fed chairs, or Fed members, has said something that was unexpected. All that being said, don't forget it is a Friday of a short week. Shortened week Fridays tend to bring slightly lower volume, which means moves can be a little more volatile when they go crazy, because we don't have the big volume to cushion it. So, all in all, I'm going to be cautious on my trading today, and keep an eye, of course, on the major indices, because I think they are going to help tell us what's going to happen no matter what. We got a lot of earnings to go through, as always, right? We are in the middle of earnings season, and we actually have some corporate news. I actually haven't checked to see on Trading Terminal whether Boeing, for example, is there, but I got to imagine that Boeing is gapping down this morning because it was moving downward last night. But anyways, we'll get to that in a couple minutes.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, guys, let's jump into our gappers list this morning. As you can see, this down list keeps growing. So we're not going to focus too much on everything on here, just the top five or so. We'll let the SPY settle out and see what really kicks out on this gap down list. But again, a lot of the names here we are very familiar with. I see Baba, Coin, POTR, Rivian, Lucid. I mean, Tesla coming in there as well. Just a bunch of tickers in here that we've seen plenty of times. Now, the interesting stuff is because the market obviously there've been talks about it dropping here a little bit and kind of going into this slightly bearish rally. Interesting stuff is what is gapping up. We see some very familiar names here, and some of these are gapping up pretty decent numbers: 68, 12, and 10. Two of these being lower flow stocks. So we'll dive into what is actually happening under the hood there. So let's go straight to that. We're going to go ahead and clear the stuff from yesterday. Control A, Control X cleans that up for us. And let's take a look here at a BAER. Now, BAER, this is a low flow stock at
Low
20,
float.
yeah, 21.7. Oh, wrong name. I'm spelling bear. This is different. This is hit this one here. There we go. So this is up 72% right now, 4.7 million shares traded. Now, I do have to say the pre-market activity for a low flow after 7:30 does look pretty decent. This is what you want to see, that kind of ABCD pattern style. You don't want to see this one. It just gaps up and goes sideways. That's usually not a good thing. Or if it trends back down towards where it came from. So this is actually looking a little bit healthy. Peter, is there anything good that's causing this move today on this stock?
Well, there was a couple things last week, or maybe it was the week before. They did have some news of the business news in terms of expanding their reach. Last overnight, though, there was a significant stake, a 22% stake taken by a large investor. So taking that many shares off the market just means that the remaining shares are more valuable, and it shows signs of, I guess, it's always good to have a big investor, right? Because obviously they have some confidence in the growth prospects of the company. This is a big jump though for this. So I mean, I don't know what to expect. It is still a low float. Like, we're only talking 3.9 million shares in the float altogether. So this thing could move like crazy. If you're going to trade it, trade with extreme caution. I notice it's on hard to borrow status, which means you're not going to get many shorts on it. So this is a long play if it's going to be anything.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. Yeah, and shorts on these are actually they're scary either way, but short seems to be very scary because those squeezes can be brutal, guys. Careful in the pre-market. Remember, there is no volatility halt in the pre-market, so be very, very careful if you're trading this now. It can really get going either direction. All right, so I think this low flow is looking decent right now. Worth adding on our risky pile here. We haven't added one into our risky pile in a very long time. I actually cannot remember when we put a low flow on deck. So we'll add that one there. Next we have ETAO, and this one here. This low flow is not looking great. Now, it's just got going. So we'll have to come back to this one. Is this a recent IPO? Looks like I only have a couple of days. Yes, it is.
Yeah, it looks like I never had it on my IPO list, but there's only 4 days of trading under
Yeah.
its belt, and there's not even any news on it. So, yeah, I don't know what's causing this one to move.
Yeah, yeah. So we'll have to leave this one off the list for now. See what happens there. All right, here we go, guys. BYND, Beyond the Me on deck this morning, and our buddies here are up
Channeling
a.
Andrew, I will just remind you, Carlos, there's no the in it. It's just beyond meat.
So where that came about, right? We're saying to above and beyond, and we just kind of kept beyond the me. We just kind of kept that going from Toy Story. If you
Yeah.
guys know what Toy Story is, um, and yeah, we know that, and I think I don't know if Andrew knows that we
No.
know that we should joke around with it, because when he does correct us, he does it very seriously. So we're like, oh shit, we
I
should
know.
listen.
I know. He's always
Yeah,
so
he's
serious
like,
when he makes
guys.
that correction. Like, it's like he
Yeah,
personally founded the company. He's offended. So
I think at one time he said it in a meeting. He was like, "Just so you know, guys, it's beyond.
yeah.
It's not beyond the meat." And we're like, "Okay, okay, okay." But either way, beyond the meat, BYND, also known as Beyond Meat, is here gapping up 11.3, 300,000. What's going on with the fake burgers? I mean, the veggie burgers. Veggie burgers. What's happening with them?
Veggie burgers. Well, this is earnings report, and there's a lot of negativity going into earnings for Beyond Meat. and they made a surprise, some good news. So they beat their numbers, top and bottom line, and they also the market's been looking for when they're going to get to a positive cash flow, and they said that that's going to happen sort of mid 2023. So it's always good when you sort of get to the
Okay.
green side of the ledger. Now they're not there yet, but they're projecting to do it mid next year. So that's what's got it floating up pretty high. It was up almost, well, a little over 15% overnight. I think it's only
Hmm.
up about what, 11, 12% now. So
Yeah.
might
Yeah.
be a good trader today. It doesn't look great pre-market to me, to be honest,
No. No.
but maybe a secondary.
Yeah, yeah. Pre-market maybe it'll get better now when we start seeing more volume. Right, we start to see probably one of the nicest candles get just built here a minute ago or so, but it has not looked great. You're absolutely right here. Is I like the pop though. I like the gap up. If there's an overreaction, we can quickly head back to 18, 17. I have not seen BYND in a while and how they're trading, so will be good to have them as a possible for now. Here's a LUNR. I see a couple of you guys over in chat also throwing this one out there. Screaming Z1, and I thought I saw someone in our chat room too. This one is gapping up 8.7, 478,000. Oh, this is the one that did that madness on Wednesday, right? Wednesday went from 40 to 140 almost. And then
Yeah.
yesterday decided to give all that back. This is just madness, man. I will not have this on my list. I will not trade this. Anything could move like that. It's just scary stuff. And look at the volume. The most important thing on here, or at least the most surprisingly, is that you're getting this huge move with only 4.2 million shares. I mean, this could literally be a couple of traders just throw some volume around. That's insane. That is just insane. So extremely risky, guys. Be careful. I'm not gonna have this on my list. This is good for entertainment purposes only. So again, just be very careful. Screaming Z, you're in for the bounce on this. Oh man, careful, careful, careful.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's scary stuff for me, but all power to you.
Intuitive machines. Do we even have news? I mean, is it just like whatever? We're just gonna meme here. I know we
I
haven't
think
looked at it.
this is just a sort of the bounce, right? Sort of the second,
Hmm.
third day play after that big move. So
Yeah,
nothing new, after the move from a couple of days ago
gotcha. Let's look at
to the moon. I got to
yeah.
say, one of our long-term contributors here, Rafzilla, in the room, he's right on the ball with the quips this morning. He's been taking the piss out of me all morning, and he's right up there. I like it. Keep up the
Yeah.
good work.
Yes, yes. ATLX this morning, these guys are up 3.6, 177,000. Has been having a hell of a week here, starting at 8, finishing up as high as 24, and now at 20, 57 here. So it's definitely been rocking and rolling. Volume is extremely light on this thing. What's the float on this? This is a 4.9. So low float
Yeah,
ticker.
another.
So not great, but interesting that they're holding their pops here through consecutive days. Usually, low flow stocks that do not have a great news. I don't know if they have great news or not. Don't hold their pop like this. So,
I mean, earlier this week they were getting a little bit of news. They were trying to create a little bit of hype.
hmm.
They were releasing new business information, which frankly wasn't that interesting. They are ringing the bell at Nasdaq this morning, so which is
Oh,
completely symbolic, right? Totally
yeah,
meaningless. Other than it might get some people's attention. You might get some people looking at it that wouldn't otherwise, and sometimes that creates a little bit of pop in the stock. So yeah, we could see some move at the open on ATLX, but again, low float, super high risk. So I might watch it for entertainment purposes. Very
yeah.
unlikely I would trade it.
Yeah, that's all I see on this thing as well. All right, let's head down over to us gapping down today. Again, there's a ton here. There's quite a few, man, gapping down some big numbers, 56%, 23, 12, and 11. So these top four here, man, they are just getting destroyed this morning. And yeah, Leonardo, we will look at a BA. Actually, Peter has some stuff on BA that we're going to talk about in a second here. I don't see them on the gap down list though. But Peter has some information on that. We will definitely cover that. FULC, this is down but ugly, down 56%, but a very ugly pre-market activity. I just don't like this at all. $13 to 555. Is this a news? Is this like any kind of secondary player? Some what is it?
No, this is this is Fulcrum Therapeutics.
Yeah.
They're not a low float. They have about 60 million or 59 million shares in the float. They did announce that they had to halt the clinical trials of one of their treatments for sickle cell disease. So that's what's causing the big drop this morning.
Okay. So yeah, so that's not good news for them. I will be surprised if this thing trades well today. I'm just gonna stay away from it. It looks pretty bad this morning already. OCEA, this is another one that made some
Um,
noise yesterday. Yeah.
yeah, just
Yeah.
on Fulcrum, I'm a little surprised that they're not on short sale restriction yet. I
Hmm.
imagine they will be, but it still says there's over 400,000 shares available for short. So,
Yeah.
um, but
Interesting.
yeah,
Yeah,
normally
I
they
got the
go on
same thing,
restriction pretty
400,000.
quickly when
Yeah,
they
at the
hit
market
these.
open, they'll get slammed with that SSR, I'm
Yeah,
sure. But yeah, look at this thing, 400,000 still left there. I mean, they are a no 43 million shares flow. It's not a big float, so yeah, that is surprising that they still have that on there. Um, all right, let's take a look here at OCEA. This one made some noise yesterday. Also, I believe a recent IPO as well. Yeah, only got a couple of days in here. Again, not a big fan. No shorts available. It's just we don't know what the stock is going to do. So I'm gonna stay away from that one unless you have anything good
yeah.
that's worth watching.
Their news was more about investment. They're involved in a couple of the SPAC vehicles, the special purpose acquisition companies, which means they're throwing some of their money into them and providing support. That was news overnight. I guess the market doesn't like that so much because it might be diluting these SPACs, which are already in the market because they're already publicly traded, right? But like you said, this is another low float with relatively low volume.
Yeah. As we
So
were
it's
talking
nothing
about
to it.
low flow, I see BAER is cranking, guys, trying to get to $9 here. We are up now almost 98, 96%. So this is on fire. See, this is good volume. Look at the rampant volume here. That is nice. Breaking the new
Yeah.
pre-market high. So if you are a low flow trader and you're experienced and you've done this before and you practice in sim and you got everything else that's good for this, you can definitely trade that one. But if you haven't done that, please don't be very careful with this. Next on the list is AM, and this is not looking great. Down 11% right now. Yeah, but the pre-market action is pretty bad on this thing. Yeah, so we'll skip on this. I don't like the way this looks. Even though the daily's been just kind of doing whatever it's doing here. Even the daily looks a little bit weird. Gapping down each day and just kind of making higher highs here. So yeah, lower price stock as well. LAZR, no good. Doesn't look great right now. Low volume. CNK. This is we've seen this before. It doesn't trade very well. Let's just stay away from it. But then we have we'll do one more. We'll do two more. Lucid and a firm, and then we'll head over to what you guys have this morning, starting with what Peter has on his list. But if we look at this one, guys, a firm today. A firm is man, this looks ugly. Down 4.6. I thought it was going to look better, but it doesn't. Very light on volume and just not doing a whole lot right now. It is down 4.3, but the volume is just not there. So that's not good for us at the moment. And then Lucid, guys. Lucid's been making some noise. Gap down big yesterday. Today they have the volume 780,000, but not looking great pre-market. I didn't actually pay too much attention to it yesterday. What did it do here? I actually had a great V trading day here. It's a great short
Yeah,
and
we saw a
came
lot
right
of
back
stocks
up.
with this very same pattern that we were
Yeah.
commenting on. They either bottomed around noon or at around 1 o'clock, depending on the stock, and very sort of typical pattern across the market. Um, don't know what the news was actually. We couldn't really trace it to a specific news event, but everything was
Yeah.
sort of following that same trend.
I see here. Yeah, so that's Lucid. And I think that's it, man. We'll see what you have in again this list, guys. I'm just scrolling down. Man, this list is massive. You can see here it's growing as more stocks are getting above that 2%. But Peter, I know you some stuff on deck you want to go over,
Yeah,
starting with BA and some other ones.
well, yeah. Let's start actually because I see it on the near the top of the gap down list. I don't know if we skipped over it, but Carvana, CVNA.
I,
Obviously,
I,
we've
I
been looking
definitely
at
skipped
that.
over that one.
Yeah, the last little while. They did have earnings, so they missed their numbers. No surprise there. Everybody's been sort of foretelling the doom, the downfall of Carvana. They have announced that they're planning to target over $1 billion in operational cost cuts over the next year, and they're hoping to do it without any layoffs. So that is, I mean, the market actually likes when they're targeting cost cuts, but I don't know. I mean, I still don't understand how they're going to survive, especially with the softening of the used car market. But we'll see what happens. But as a trading stock, you know what? It seems to be getting a little bit of attention, anyways, because we do have over 1 million shares traded so far this morning. So again, another one for the secondary list, in my opinion. Um, anyway, sorry. Oh, others. Yes.
Yep.
Earnings, Intuit, if you trade that, INTU, they beat their numbers, so they had earnings. Square, or sorry, I should be calling it Block Inc. I still think of them as Square, but they changed their name a while back. Anyways, SQ had mixed earnings. They beat on revenue, missed on bottom line earnings per share. And last but not least that I'll mention here is Boeing. Didn't have earnings in this case. Really, they announced yesterday before the market close that they were halting production of or deliveries of their 787 jets. So this is a blast of the past that nobody wants to see again, right? When they had to halt deliveries. Apparently, it's with a documentation issue on the fuselage. They say it's not important. It's not a critical thing, but it's needed for compliance. So look, whenever Boeing has to delay shipment because of some issue, nowadays you think the market's going to get pretty nervous. And we're seeing Boeing's not on our list yet because I don't think it has the volume to hit there. It's only 118,000 shares, but it's down 3%, which is relatively large for Boeing. And you can see the big drop really happened right after the close yesterday. So we'll see what happens when the market opens on this, but it might be worth keeping an eye on, especially if you like trading Boeing.
Yeah, I see actually that they just got over the 100,000, so they're on our list now. But again, this list is so long, it can get lost pretty quickly. As you can see here, it
Yeah.
continues to grow. So it's going to be an interesting day. Let's take a quick look on what the SPY is doing now. We are continuing to drop here. So we had another leg down just not so long ago, and it's looking like we're not getting this quick reaction bounce that we normally get when we get news like this. Let's see what happens here, guys. But yeah, very interesting. Obviously, a lot of stocks that are pushing down are because the SPY at the moment. Um, all right, let's take it to the room, guys. Let's see what you guys like to so far this morning. I know there's a lot on here, but let's take a look at both chats and see what we got going on. Meta on your main list this morning, Prince Trader. Let's take a look on Meta today. Meta still hasn't closed this gap, so they managed to hold this 170 here. And maybe the volume is not great. They are obviously dropping because of the SPY. On a day like today, we know we're going to be getting into our usual suspects, which we haven't seen any in our list, in our gap up list up here yet, right? It's a bunch of crappy stocks kind of taking the spotlight. But yeah, our usual suspects are going to be coming into this list quite a bit. Nvidia. Let's take a look at Nvidia.
Yeah, I see a few
Nvidia,
people
yeah.
asking about Nvidia. Obviously, it was big on the focus yesterday. I was
Hmm.
certainly watching Nvidia, and there was a couple of good opportunities on it. It ended up
Yeah,
holding the gains that it had got pre-market when we were talking yesterday. In fact, added to it a little bit once the market opened. So I don't know what to expect out of today. Second day play, right? So after earnings yesterday and the big jump up, if you look at it on the daily, we're sitting above that level we talked about, which is where we said there was some positivity. We got to see if it can hold that, right? Because there's a
yeah.
big gap now between the current price and where that price had sort of sold off to. So we'll see what it does today.
Yeah. Nvidia, I think, is in an interesting spot. Um, Great volume too. 1 million shares traded so far, so the volume is there for sure. Let's take a look at SQ Square. You mentioned Square earlier. I'm not a big fan of Square, man. It is I and not Square. It's Block actually. Block just doesn't trade as good as it used to. And actually, when it was Square, I still couldn't trade it properly. I know it was one that we used to heavily trade alongside MU and some other ones. But yeah, I just can't trade the stock well. The price action
See
is a
what
little funky, you know.
once they became block, they just weren't trading very well. We'll call them the block.
Yeah, the block. Oh man. um, let's see what else we got here, guys. So Meta SBLK from Maria. Let's take a look at that one. SBLK. I don't think this one trades very well. Yeah, I remember this being on our list previously. I'm concerned with this getting any type of great volume. I mean, the top volume we've seen January and February has been 2.8. That was yesterday, right? So they made some noise yesterday here. But if you look at this pop here, which looks great on the daily, right? Once you start looking under the hood here, look what happens. 10 o'clock, you get one move and that's it, right? And even that move was with very light volume, right? From there, you're just not getting anything at all. So you're kind of stuck in this stock that's not really in place. So be careful with that one. I don't see it as a good one for today. Baba looks good. Yeah, Baba was very nice yesterday, guys. Did trade very, very well. And again, you can see here the gap up. It's just a massive sell off. This is not a good sign for these guys. I mean, to have such a big pop like that on earnings and to just give it all back, it's just I don't get why it sold off so aggressively like that. But either way, really really good trading ticker yesterday. Today, today's good, 700,000. Yeah, I like Bala today actually. I'm gonna add that to the list. That looks good. Thank you. Who mentioned that? Kawakaki. Hopefully, I'm pronouncing that correctly. Kawakaki. Thank you for that. See, Carvana, we spoke about. Peter broke that one down already. And I think that's all we have. Anything else, guys?
Somebody's mentioning
CBLK,
W. I haven't looked at
W.
W in a couple of days. Good old Wayfair. Yeah, they're not doing much this morning.
Yeah.
Um,
Oh,
you know,
yesterday they were
I
good.
Yeah, they had a big drop right after I think it was their earnings. When was that? Yeah, yesterday. And I don't know. I mean, on the daily, they're sort of sitting in a range that tells me there's probably going to need a couple of days for it to work itself out before it decides what it's going to do. I don't think today is going to be the day for W, but that's just my guess. I could be totally wrong. So
Yeah, yeah. Um, Yeah, I don't know about today for them as well. All right, excellent guys. That is what we have so far. Anything else over in our chat? Neo, good volume. I don't know, man. Neo has been so bad. Even with volume. Let's take a look here. Yeah, this is not the 1.2 million we used to see from Neo. If you guys remember when we had 1.2, 1.8, we had a beautiful pre-market activity.
yeah.
This here, on the other hand, is just yeah. No, 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 no good, no good. No, 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 no for Neo. Which again, I have a lot of love for Neo because Neo, October, November, we were best friends during that time, but not anymore. Here is Coin being mentioned as well is down 3%. What time is it? 8:58. Down 3%, 334,000. Um, I just feel like this is just a big like we're expecting this thing to do something, and it's just for me at least, it just goes sideways. I don't know. Um,
You
so
know, we haven't talked about coin in the last couple of days since we have a minute or two. I find
yeah.
it interesting in this sector. The talk has, at least it seems that the chatter that I'm picking up on has moved from the traditional cryptocurrencies to these, what are the stable coins, as they like to call them. And stable coins, I mean, let me go on a rant for a second. It's utterly ridiculous. The whole point of the cryptocurrency was that they were breaking away from the bonds of fiat currencies that were controlled by nation states, and to have a stable coin that's going to tie its value back to stable currencies is seems to be like almost like a disgusting perversion of what they were intended to do. So I just find it interesting that this is what happens, right? When big money gets into it, they're trying to make it legitimate or tie it back to something, and you end up with something that sort of breaks the intent. There's going to be these stable coins, tradable instruments on the market for sure, but it's sort of interesting that what it's likely to do is it's going to give rise to yet something new, right? Because people
Yeah.
that had the gospel and truly believed in this independent currency methodology are probably going to abandon it and move somewhere else. But I mean, that's a long time away. We'll see where this all goes. But so coin is stuck. I mean, look, Coinbase still has a big marketplace stranglehold, if you will, and
Hmm.
they're still doing the bulk of the trading. It's just that the trading volumes on these currencies are down a lot. So, coin, I think, is going to be, if you look at the daily, right, we're going into this narrow range. I think we're going to be there for a
Yeah.
little while. I just find it interesting, the tale of this industry and how it's evolving. And it's not a new story, right? You can look back to many disruptive industries that for them to get over a certain level, they have to then become mainstream. And once they become mainstream, they almost it's sort of like a band, right? You love
Yeah.
the
Yeah.
indie band that's independent, but if you want a big record deal so they can make the money and get the distribution, they sell out. Feels like cryptocurrency is getting to the sellout point.
Yeah.
Anyways,
Yeah. It's we will see, man. I always say you go up against the dollar, you're gonna have a tough battle. I just
sure.
don't see how you do that.
Yeah.
Uncle Sam, the Uncle Sam is not to be played with. All right.
Well, look, the global financial industry is not incentivized to really adopt and welcome with opening arms all these new concepts because it
Yeah.
disrupts their revenue chain.
Oh yeah.
And
Oh yeah.
so
Absolutely.
yeah, once
Um.
they figure out how to make money off of it, which usually means co-opting it
They
into whatever
exactly.
their system is, then welcome, right? So hence,
Exactly. They
welcome to
have to make their
stablecoin.
cut. If they can make their cut, man, the Bitcoin will be accepted. All these coins will be
Exactly. Then
everywhere, but they have to make their cut, guys. So they got to figure that part out first.
yeah.
You're just not gonna cut that middle guy out. No way.
Sort of
Um,
like the Borg, right? You either will
yeah,
be assimilated or destroyed. There's only two options.
yeah, yeah, absolutely. uh, all right, friends. Right now, this list, I mean, although we have so much happening in this gap down list, I only got two. I got Nvidia and Baba. And I think BA is another one that we mentioned that could be fun today. And BA, for the most part, sometimes we've seen this many times where their pre-market might be a little quiet, and then market open they get going. So I like the fact they lost this level. They've just been back and forth here, back and forth. After you guys remember a beautiful run, right? They had an incredible run with like many airlines and travel companies did September, October, and then it just kind of got stuck here, right? And the fact they're down here making a new low from this range, that looks interesting to me. So I definitely want to have them on deck. Plus, with that news you mentioned, Peter. Um, cool, guys. Let's go ahead and let's go into our community events and announcements. I'm actually going to go to the website and kind of show you guys what's happening next week. Give you an update what's going on there as far as webinars, and then we can come back and see if there's anything else popping up on this list. No one mentioned Tesla, guys, or did I miss that? I don't see no one
Um,
mentioned Tesla, huh?
no, I don't think so. I didn't see it. I mean, look, it's to me, it's
It's
it's now as stable, right? Like
yeah,
it's
yeah,
Tesla is there, and it's certainly something we're going to be looking at. But we didn't
absolutely.
mention AMD for that matter either. So you know.
Yeah, yeah, strange morning.
Well, talking about events, I mean, we're to the end of this shortened week, and which means we're looking forward to next week already. And what a big week we've got! Not only have we got a big week in the room, but we got a big week with our members and in person. We're going to be in San Diego, which I hear is having a weather event. There's snow happening in them there hills, just outside of San Diego. Let's hope it stays there and doesn't move to the coast. But that's frankly what a lot of us are looking forward to. That being said, we're pretty close to being sold out. I know I had a few inquiries about sort of last minute tickets and what's going to happen, and will they have a chance to talk with us one on one. The answer to the last one, by the way, absolutely yes. The whole point is giving you the opportunity to talk to us one on one in person, whether that's myself or Andrew or Thor or whomever you most would want to sort of grab their ear and really sort of get some insight. We're going to be there and we're happy to provide it. So hopefully you will grab one of those last few tickets. I'm a little worried now that some of the people that I've given information to, it'll get sold out on them and they won't be able to find that. But anyway, so grab them quickly before we sell out. Um, all that being said, we still have a full slate of activities happening in the chat room. So Monday, we're going to start with our onboarding as we always do for new members, 8 o'clock. Almost all of our webinars are at 8 when we can. That's going to be in the classroom. It's a really good introduction, not only to trading, but to the Bear Bull trading community. Tuesdays, we'll talk strategy as we always do. And I think on Tuesday we have, oh my, look at me. I'm presenting on
Are you
Tuesday.
here back to back?
I don't know. Well, it's the same thing. So
Yeah, something's got
apparently,
to get updated there. Yeah.
Yeah, that's right. So I'm going to be talking about trading the close. Everybody's been asking about this, the 1 to 10 trade. I talk about it every day at the close, but we'll focus on it a little bit more in our room. We've got sort of a short that talks about how it functions. I'm going to go a little bit deeper and talk about how it came about, its development, what I'm looking for, because the key thing for any strategy is how do you make it your own, and you need to understand it to be able to trade it yourself, right? So
Yeah.
we'll dig deep into that. We'll go through a number of examples and really sort of break it down. That's on Tuesday at 8 o'clock. Wednesday is about psychology, and this Wednesday, oh my God, we're in March already. But this Wednesday night, we'll be having Dr. Kenneth Reed with us, who will be talking about how you can hit the reset button on your trading. We all need to do that on occasion, and it's good to understand how can you most effectively make that process work. Dr. Reed will be here to discuss that with you. Um, and Whoa, Mike's giving us some news in the admin chat that I don't understand, so I'm not sure what to make of it. But anyways, Thursday was all about mentorship. So on Thursday, as always, and we did it yesterday, we had Thor in the webinar room helping out our members with all of their questions. John was doing the same thing at 11 o'clock. We repeat that next week. Now, keep in mind, next week we're going to be I'm gonna have to check, we'll have to check on the mentorship with Thor, because we are going to be live on Thursday in San Diego. So I have to make sure that that one can still happen. Carlos, we might want to make a mental note to make sure that can continue. But but we'll check on that for you and make sure we give you an update early next week. So once again, lots of stuff going on, and hopefully you'll consider joining us in the trade room. If you do join us in the Rebels trading room, keep in mind we have two rooms. We have our stock trading room that is every day, Monday to Friday, and then we have our options room, which is open Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. So it'll be open today with Jared and Megan. And you do not need to be an options expert. In fact, the whole point is being able to bring people on board who want to learn about options. So if you're an expert, great, join. Jared will be able to go toe to toe with you on anything you want to discuss. If you're new, then we're happy to provide information. And Megan and Jared are very good at helping break it down and give you from the basics all on up. So consider joining us. Whether you're an options trader or a stock trader here at Bearable Traders. If you want to join us, you can use the code PreMarket24. That'll give you access to both rooms, as well as that onboarding class on Mondays that we talked about. The basic, elite, and elite annual are all different levels of membership that'll give you more permanent access. If you want all of the webinars and educational material, you need to get into the elite level of access, and the best deal then is the annual, where you get 50% off the regular monthly rate. So hopefully we'll see you in the room sometime soon. If you like to just watch on YouTube, then you're welcome to do that, and we love having you here. And hopefully you'll give us a like and a thumbs up and join the channel so you get regular updates. We have all sorts of good material that goes in there. We try not to produce too much to overwhelm people, but there's it's always trading related, and it's always very valuable. So with that, let's set some levels and get us set for this beautiful Friday.
Yes, absolutely. Thank you, Peter. Before we jump into that, Barry's asking a question here. Why is AMD not in play today and it was yesterday? A couple of things, but one of them is even if they didn't have the sympathy play with NVIDIA, right? That's the big reason why we had an
Right.
AMD yesterday. Um, Look at the difference in pre-market, right? Look how clean this is, had a lot more volume. Obviously, the sympathy play with NVIDIA yesterday, having earnings and having great earnings, helped them quite a bit. This morning, you're seeing a lot less activity. Now, the way the market's setting up right now, guys, I have very little tickers on here because the majority of things, and we're going to add Tesla, by the way, the majority of things are going to be moving with the overall market, right? Where's Tesla? There it is. So the majority of things are going to be moving with the SPY. So on a day like today, you really can select your favorites, right? So if you like AMD over NVIDIA, take that. But right now, if you look at this pattern the SPY has going here, this drop, this popping right back down. Many of the tickers that we have that are usual suspects, like Apple, see it there. Maybe even NVIDIA, even after earnings, is still going to submit to whatever the SPY is doing. What else we had? What are some of the usual suspects we look at? Well, we looked at Tesla, right? So that's good. Looked at Apple. Yeah, we looked at Apple. So yeah, so these guys, NVIDIA, yeah, they're all doing the same thing, right? So You can pick your favorites today. This is why my list is very short: Nvidia, Baba, BA, and Tesla. But a lot of the stuff is going to be kind of folding to whatever the overall SPY is doing, especially today being a short week, as you mentioned, less volume. So it's not a lot of reason why tickers will be doing their own thing unless they have news like BYND does today, which is up 12% and trying to keep that gains there at the moment. All right, with that said, we're gonna set some levels here, guys, on Nvidia. Let's start there, and we'll see. We'll take a look at how the SPY is forming in a couple of minutes here after we're done with this. So low of the pre-market right now, we're looking at 232.80. That's going to be the level there. So we'll slam one there. We'll slam another one too over at 235.66. That is going to be the high of the pre-market. And again, we're on this little island here. We did very well yesterday. We managed to kind of stay here, although a lot of stuff started selling down pretty quickly, right? So that was very aggressive there. We managed to end the day green, at least after the open, we managed to stay green, right? Obviously, nice big gap today. We'll see what it does. I mean, we're very extended here, even after great earnings. This can be a very interesting setup for Nvidia. Right now, I think you're set highs and lows, doing a pretty good job there. We're going to head down to over to Baba, and Baba towards the top again. Very interesting action yesterday, as I mentioned before. Gapped up and just sold off completely right back, even lower than where it was before the news. So it's like it just wiped out those earning gains very, very quickly there. I don't think that's a great sign for Baba. Let's see, 90.41 is the low of the pre-market here. And then towards the top, you got so much going on there. I don't really think you need to add anything else on that there. And then towards the bottom here, we're going to look at just one more level because this is our low. I want to have something below this 91.41, and that's going to be very clean daily level here, guys. 87.95. You got a couple of other ones down there you can mark down as well. But that 87.95 looking really, really good. CBA starting to move now here. And Peter, you have BA on your main list today, I believe, as well, or at least a secondary, correct?
Yeah, yeah. I think I might be moving BA up.
Yeah,
I like
it's
its
looking
price
good.
action. It doesn't always treat me well, but
Mm,
maybe today's the day.
yeah,
I'll
yeah.
be hopeful.
Yeah, maybe today is today. A couple of levels here, 203, 10, and then we also have 197.15, and then the next level is going to be the low of the pre-market here. Looks like we might be continuing. We'll mark it down, 200, 251. So 251, there it is, 250. That'll be a level there for now. It might be a level that we stay there, that we keep, even if it drops lower, because look at, you got a little bit of support. You got some minor area of support and resistance. Don't put too much weight on that, but that might be worth marking down. Last but not least is our buddy Tesla, which has been on a nice little sideways run. Kind of got stuck in this little range here, like many tickers have after the rally. The SPY has given some of these companies. Um, Tesla obviously just doing whatever the SPY is doing right now. 195.52 is the low of the pre-market. Once we slam a level there, you're kind of stuck between the highs and lows of the last two trading days. Don't need to really add anything else here besides this 200, which is your high of your pre-market at 199.98. So I think you're pretty set there on Tesla, guys. Great volume as always, 3.4, 3.5 million with some good movement right now. So can we talk about BYND again? I mean, I don't know. I have BYND on my secondary list. And yes,
What do
it's
you
good
want?
to go. It's good to go.
What do you
Uh,
want to talk about? What's
uh, yeah, what do you want to talk about? I mean, I rather call it BYND than Beyond Me. Beyond Me just doesn't sound natural to me. Beyond the meat, but I
I
rather call
know.
it BYND. Yeah,
It
yeah,
does sound it sounds wrong,
sounds
doesn't it?
right. Sounds right.
We've conditioned ourselves now
Oh
to
yeah.
hear that, whether it's right or wrong. So, oh well.
Guys, if you haven't done so already, hit that thumbs up. We'd love to get above 250. We are only sitting at 190. I'm sorry, 128 today. If we can get above 250, that would be incredible. Um, I think we're all set, man. Anything else that we might have missed?
I don't think so. I think we've covered all the main ones. As you said, doesn't not a lot on the list, but I don't consider that a problem. Sometimes those are the best days, right? When you can really
Yeah,
focus in on just a couple of tickers and wait and
yeah.
see what the market gives you. So, don't be in a rush. We got all day,
Oh,
and
absolutely, absolutely. Something will
for good
come up, and
opportunities.
And
Yep.
sometimes again, waiting that 15 minutes, it's nice. It does help. I'm telling you guys, we see it so many times. We go back and like, oh, look at that turned out to be a really long, really nice short after 15 minutes. So if you're looking, if you don't get your shot in the first couple of minutes, just look back, look at the bigger picture, and take advantage of that. I see Andrew is in the room, ready to rock and roll, my
Looky,
friends.
looky who's here.
Yeah,
Indeed, Andrew is here this morning. That's
yeah,
fantastic to
yeah.
see. I'm sure Andrew will find something fantastic to trade and be right on top of the market. So I'm going to stick to the old usuals, I think, for my trading list this morning, with maybe the
Oh, yeah,
addition
yeah.
of Boeing and beyond. So
One thing I almost forgot to do was call out the moderators list, but it looks like we don't have a whole lot on the list right now. Only
I'll get
Thor,
mine in there for you.
Tesla. Oh, there we go. So we have Thor with Tesla and SQ. Only one IPO NYX for today. Then we have Peter, AMD, Tesla, BA, BYND, Baba, and Apple for you, Peter, this morning. So,
Yep.
uh, guys, stay tuned over on YouTube. We're going to transition over to Brian and Andrew so we can see their screen and then prepare for the market open today. And you'll be able to see the other moderators list on the top left. Actually, let me show you that now for those who are on YouTube and do not know what our setup looks like here. I'm going to switch this over. You're going to get that mirror effect for now, but I will stop that for you. And I'm
To
going to,
infinity and
yeah.
beyond.
And if you look here on this part over here, you'll be able to see the moderators list. There's Mike releasing his list, NVIDIA, and Tesla. Guys, over on YouTube, stick around. Brian and Andrew up next. And hit that thumbs up if you haven't done so already. Really, really appreciate it. Have an
We
amazing
would.
weekend. And we'll talk to you guys soon.
Have a great weekend, everybody. Trade safe. We'll see you back here on Monday.
Good morning. Good morning. Sorry about yesterday that I couldn't wake up on time. I was really feeling sick yesterday.
Diddly doodly.
Good morning, Brian. How are you?
Good. Good. We've got PCE number came in hotter than expected. 4.7 versus the 4.4 expected. So, which I wasn't surprised. I thought, I thought that if, last week we had CPI and PPI, and they all came in higher. So I would have been shocked if this number didn't come in higher too. So clearly, more rate hikes. Fed's job is not done. Yeah, apparently, nobody's listening to you, Andrew. They're out there spending.
Yeah, they keep spending, and again, there is no way that inflation comes down until they engineer a recession. Like one of the vendors for variable traders, he's keeping by default. He's adding 10% inflation in there in our invoice every year. And that's what the Feds are very, very. Yesterday, the name of the company is Chart IQ when we're using for trading terminal and simulator. By default, they're adding 10%, and they say, well, okay, this is the new invoice for the year, 10% inflation, and that is called inflation expectation, because you just by default increase your price because you think that you have to, and that's what Fed is very, 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 very concerned about. It's not about the actual inflation, but anchored inflation expectation. They are anchored that everybody should increase their price 10% every year, and that's very dangerous for the economy. That's why they have to crush the economy. Otherwise, by the way, I told them, fuck you, I'm not going to pay 10% extra. Give it to me, or I'll change my window. And now you eventually have to fight back. Otherwise, by default, okay, 10%, the food has to go up 10%, everything has to go up 10%. Yeah, I told them that there's no way that I paid, adjusted inflation. I mean, if you're interested, give me the same price. If not, I'm switching. They haven't come back to me and say, "Oh, do whatever you want," but we'll see. Probably.
But that's true. I mean, all these companies are, some of them are just raising because everybody else is.
Yeah, anchored inflation expectation. That's the most dangerous part. And the target is 2%. And the reason for that of 2% is actually, this is the real thing. And for the people who know economy, it's called the food menu rule. Like the way that if you, for example, you go to countries like Argentina or Iran or Venezuela, that they have a lot of inflation, you see their menu in the restaurant, there's always a tape on it because they have to constantly change the prices because the inflation is so high. But if you are at 2%, then then it's not worth to, because again, it goes up so fast that it's not worth to print the menu again. But at 2% is the number that they say that every couple of years it's worth to print the menus again because now the prices have gone up. Inflation, the anchored inflation expectation. So we'll see. I start on your behalf, guys. I started fighting back with the vendor. I bring down the inflation for you, my Americans. All right, so SQQ is hitting the scanner. So as I mentioned last couple of weeks, I switch all of my positions to, high premium equity, like JP and Shy.
Yeah.
So nothing on the leverage. Like this is not really the environment of the leverage. I think Ardi is always saying the content that is creating, they have to engineer a recession if they want to bring down the inflation. They have to break the system.
Well, they certainly have to bring unemployment up, that's for sure. TLT is down, means all the interest rates, bond rates are up. Treasuries are up today.
All right, so the numbers, I think we're going to have a volatile day. I don't know if it's continuing going lower or not. NVIDIA had an amazing day yesterday. Obviously, unfortunately, I didn't trade that. It was a little bit chaotic at the open. This is a perfect example of a fallen angel. So it drops, holds this level. Eventually, you can take the long on it and get that move. But most of the move has been on the gap up.
Took a while. I think you think there'll be some buying at the open? I don't know. A firm is really weak, AFRM.
No, G, not necessarily. No. I mean, increasing the rate doesn't necessarily mean that it's just it trickles down. To some extent, it breaks down some businesses. Like a lot of the small businesses are going to crack at the high rates because the market also doesn't have elasticity. Like if you increase the price of Lamborghini $20,000, it doesn't impact probably because the market has elasticity. The person who buys a Lamborghini pays another $20,000, no problem. But for the foods, there is not much price elasticity. For some services, there's not much price elasticity. If you increase the price, then market doesn't respond and they don't buy. So to some extent, if they increase the prices, they're going to eventually collapse some businesses. The biggest impact is on real estate. When the mortgage rates are going to go significantly higher and people cannot afford, then the construction is going to come down. And that's the majority of working people come. It's not about the Wall Street or tech company. It's actually the main street that are involved. In Vancouver, everybody's unemployed right now because the construction has gone down significantly. So that's because the whole economy in the British Columbia is real estate and construction. But I was reading an article in The Economist that it shows that the inflation is also very resilient. It's the whole economy has become so resilient that everybody's fighting back for that recession, but eventually they crack.
Hmm. Yeah, there's lots to look at here. That's for sure. BA could be another interesting trade. This is about the. Is this the news about the 787? Okay. Don't be surprised if we get some buying at the open. Yeah, I know. I saw BAER. Oh yeah, it's ripping. What's the? Shit, come on. What is the float on this? BAER. I think they've stopped production on it or something. There was some issue with the airframe, or they've stopped shipments till they sort out whatever's going on.
Hey guys, Trading Terminal, by the way, we launched the simulator, a real-time simulator, and I appreciate you guys can go and check it out. There is also, because it's in a beta, I'm sure there's going to be a lot of problem with it, but I want to see, there is help us improve by sharing your feedback. There is a button, and if you can actually give us the feedback that what you want, what to be changed, what didn't work, all the glimpses and stuff. We really, really appreciate that if you guys spend some time, especially during the market hour, because we want to see how the data is working and everything.
Okay, so it's a 4 million float on this, so it's a relatively low float. Square is kind of dropping here. It's looking like a sort of a lead balloon trade. Amazon's coming back up. Tesla's coming back up a bit. Yeah. All right. Well, let's see here. We got just over 2 minutes left. PAER. Just thinking, I don't know if this is going to be a buy the dip or what's going to happen here.
If possible, I mean, the bear markets, anything can happen in a bear market. NVIDIA crack of 231. This is amazing levels. Amazing. 231.
Yeah. Yeah, there's any number of ways to play this here right now. NVIDIA could be a rising devil. Square could be a lead balloon. Tesla's kind of looking strong going into the open. Everything's catching a bit of a bid here going into the open. They're anticipating that buy the dip. I'm going to, I just think I'm just going to, like yesterday, I'm just going to wait, I think.
Expectations.
We're gapping down, but we're showing some strength going into the open. There's a bit of buying going on. So let's just see what's going on. Oh, there goes bear.
Yes. Tesla.
I think Bayer's going to probably drop.
Tesla. I love bear market. I love this bear market. I hope that it stays forever.
Here goes. Wow. Just got a little pop.